This is the important thing. This is what made Naruto, the original Naruto, from the very, very, very first beginning, from the Zabuza arc, from the Chunin exams. This is what made Naruto so great and what made it this ninja adventure story, not about superpowers. The story is approaching, or rather pushing towards the situation that got introduced at the very first chapter of Boruto the manga and also the anime. I love the manga. I enjoy the manga. It's been close in quality what I feel the Naruto manga did to me in bursts, but then also in between always it slows where I thought like, what's going on? Is really Kishimoto having the one who's writing the script? Some dialogues are really cringy and strange, and sometimes it feels like characters go, in terms of character development, go in zigzags. But like I said, it feels to me sometimes like I see a 180 every chapter or every two chapters. And with the current development, the manga had made a 180 again, but for the better. And I'm totally a fan of the current development. I think it's not a bad idea to take Naruto the character out of commission. I think the only issue I have right now is that Naruto had been pretty much nerfed so badly that even if he were to be an active character around, he wouldn't interfere with the current power escalation that much due to how far away, in terms of power, characters like Boruto, Kawaki, Code, all the Utsutsuki related characters are. How much of a drop Sasuke had still stands to be seen. He still has his one eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. He lost his Rinnegan, obviously his strongest power asset. I actually don't want to see Sasuke being axed, being killed off. For some reason, I would have rather seen Naruto get killed off and Kurama, the Nine-Tailed, survive and still be a power, an element that is of relevance in the now established Boruto world, instead of Kurama vanishing into nothing and now Naruto being held in a whatever dimension, in a fourth dimension, so where time basically doesn't flow as stated by Kawaki. Naruto out of the picture, not necessary, but I guess beneficial to shifting the focus on Boruto without worrying too much about Naruto. Now pretty much all the pieces are laid out. I actually thought the story would escalate even further the last battle. I thought that was the moment between Kawaki and Boruto facing off. I thought we would get much more of a big fight. I was disappointed that we didn't get that we didn't get the big confrontation between Boruto and Kawaki. Instead, I think we got a very sorry situation, underwhelming situation of how Boruto actually got his slash on the eye. That is the one that was prominent also in the opening scene in the first chapter of the manga and the beginning of the anime. That was a bit underwhelming, or very underwhelming, but something that instead made me very happy, and where I think the story has found back to its roots, to its basics, to This is the important thing. This is what made Naruto, the original Naruto, from the very, very, very first beginning, from the Zabuza arc, from the Chunin exams. This is what made Naruto so great and what made it this ninja adventure story. Not about superpowers, but about realistic, rationally, logically working abilities and techniques. And this was displayed with how those characters together, Mitsuki, Shikamaru, and Sasuke, together in tandem, could hold Kawaki, and it almost felt as if traditional ninjutsu and classic techniques had become so obsolete in this overpowered power creep Boruto world, and seeing how these base techniques were put to good use. This is such It was such a small and easily overlooked scene, but I think so important, and where Boruto, the current manga, draws from its original roots of fighting smart, of using techniques and abilities in a smart way and not just smashing OP attacks into each other, smashing the biggest Rasengan into the biggest, most powerful Chidori to have like giant explosions that destroy everything. It was this way of Mitsuki using his elastic, elongated arm to wrap around Kawaki's hand to immobilize his use of karma, to not make him capable of sucking up jutsu, while at the same time Shikamaru using his paralysis, his shadow paralysis, to freeze Kawaki in place, and stating even kinda that he was surprised himself inside the manga. He obviously and himself states that it's surprising that it worked against his ability to become small, his miniaturization ability. I think it being made out to be an Otsutsuki ability, an ability that he inherited from Ishin Otsutsuki, might make think one that there's a hierarchy of techniques, of effectiveness, and that such a base ability as the shadow paralysis should not be able to hinder one from making use of this miniaturization ability, of this Otsutsuki ability, which is not even described to be a ninjutsu, but its own type of jutsu, the Otsutsuki jutsu being even named in the manga to be their own type of jutsu, just as there is ninjutsu and senjutsu, using senin, sage energy. So there is a hierarchy of jutsu in the Naruto world, and in the Naruto / Boruto world. And this was, I think, a very positive surprise, one for the good of the series. And I think it also shows, I think this lays the groundwork, or at least for me it gives hope, that in the future, in the next chapters, we will still see base techniques being used and of use, still effective in taking down strong opponents. And I think this is the right way to go, to not let the story to become too spacey, not to become too like planetary destruction power level spaced uber power god level anime, where it's basically like where fights basically become like Dragon Ball fights, with shooting beams and energy balls and chi and chakra and the clash of energy. And no thank you. Another thing I alluded in my last video was that I think there's hints towards Himawari, Boruto's little sister, becoming possibly relevant for the story. And I had the feeling that she might have some connection to Kaguya Otsutsuki. It is almost a shame that Kaguya, such a, I think, interesting character, but super poorly introduced. An amazing character introduced in the most horrible and last minute way possibly, was swept under the carpet, which made it even worse that there was no follow up on her. If you have a very interesting character that's introduced in an SHIT way, but then you don't make any further use of that character, to the fandom, to the viewership, readership, that just reconfirms, affirms that that character is basically not just introduced in an SHIT way, but the character itself is crap SHIT. And I think that doesn't do the character of Kaguya just. I think she is an interesting character, with, even through retrospectively expanded. You might call it a retcon. She is an interesting character with an interesting backstory that actually was very relevant for the Naruto / Boruto universe, even through only been given relevance retrospectively. Still important, still relevant, and was actually, I think she was amazingly designed with very interesting abilities. And it's just such a shame that that character didn't have further relevance down the road. She was just introduced so last minute. So her being in some way relevant and connected to Himawari, I think that might be a very sweet way also to make her more relevant. I thought Boruto had turned too much into this OP Naruto 2.0, where I feel Himawari, making her a bit more relevant, might be very, very interesting. Thank you for listening, thank you for tuning in, and goodbye.